Hello once more and welcome to another video. This video will help you with your transfer plans or even with your wildcard drafts by revealing the best players in terms of predicted points in game week 6 and the next 6 game weeks. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to climb up the rankings this season and win your mini leagues. Starting in goal, Flecken is expected to score 5.1 points against Everton, making him the clear favourite keeper for this week. Just like Tottenham and Forest, Brentford has allowed only 4 open play goal attempts in home matches this season. After keeping Luton scoreless, Fulham is hoping to make it 2 in a row. Leno is second this week in expected points with 4.8. He's first among all keepers over the next 6 marginally with 27.9 points. Interestingly, this week's projections see Martinez coming in at third with 4.5 predicted points. The defense hasn't improved for Villa so far this season, as they've yet to record a clean sheet after 5 games. They'll travel to Chelsea, a team that hasn't scored in their past 2 games. Just making the cut this week, Neto actually leads the goalkeeper saves odds with 6 expected saves. Bournemouth are travelling to Brighton, who are actually third in the league in shots inside the box with 60, behind only Man City and Tottenham. The defence is up next, and Pervis Estupiñán's 4.7 predicted points against Bournemouth at home leads the pack this week. It's worth remembering that he didn't start last week when the team travelled to face United. De Zerbi had never previously placed him on the bench following a break for international play. Keep this in mind for the games in game week 9 and 13 after the international breaks in October and November. Pinnock is tied for a second with 4.7 expected points, as Brentford are strong favourites to keep a clean sheet home to Everton. Hickey is on the list too. Rico Henry will miss the rest of the season with a knee injury, and he's heavily tipped to take over as Brentford's starting left back. It's also worth mentioning that Ben Mee required treatment before leaving the field against Newcastle, so he may be a concern for this week as well. Akanji is third with 4.5 predicted points. Though he's a big minutes risk, perhaps he returns to the starting 11 after missing out in the Champions League fixture. Diaz is also on the projections. Bookmakers gave City the best chances of any club this week of keeping a clean sheet at 55%. Moving on to the Newcastle defenders, and Trippier is expected to lead the way this week with just over 4 points in the away game against Sheffield. In fact, no team has given up more chances this season than Sheffield has from set plays. So maybe this could be the game where Trippier gets his assist. Botman and Shear follow him with 4.2 and 4.1 predicted points respectively. Newcastle is third on the ticker over the next 6 games, with favourable ties including Sheffield, Burnley and Wolves. They've only given up 3 big chances over their last 4 matches, despite facing Man City, Liverpool and Brentford. If you've liked what you've seen thus far, hit that like button and subscribe for weekly FPL uploads. Right, moving on to the midfield, Salah is this week's top option, with being predicted to score 7 points against West Ham. With just 1 blank in his last 15 Premier League appearances, the Egyptian sits third among mids for transfers in, ahead of game week 6. Salah actually leads the league in both expected assists and big chances created, and is second only to Erling Haaland in expected goal involvement thus far this season. The projections over the next 6 heavily favour him as well. The projections have Saka at second with just under 6 points. Many managers may be hesitant to start their key players in the North London matchup between Arsenal and Tottenham, but the likes of Saka and Maddison shouldn't be completely written off. In fact, there was a combined 13 goals in their last 4 Premier League matches between them. This season, Saka has an expected goal involvement every 112 minutes, which ranks better than the likes of Rashford and Foden. This week, Foden is widely favoured by the bookies to provide an assist home to Forest. However, the first name that comes to mind among City assets other than Haaland is Alvarez, whom Pep described as almost undroppable following his team's comeback victory against West Ham. Pascal Gross is projected to score just under 6 points home to Bournemouth. Following a season in which he created 16 chances, fired 3 shots inside the box and attempted 1 big chance as well. He may still be worth picking up, even if just as a short-term punt before the wild card. Before we get into the forwards, bear in mind that West Ham, Villa, Brighton and Liverpool all have European fixtures before we get to game week 6. So you may want to hold off on making any transfers to your teams until then. Let's move on to the forwards, where everyone likely saw Haaland coming in first, with slightly over 9 expected points. The Norwegian had an outstanding game against West Ham last week. He recorded 6 big chances and had a non-penalty XG of 2.56, but only registered 1 goal in that game. It's fair to say those bet against him got away with it last week. Against Forest, he's been given a 67% probability of finding the back of the net. He remains to be the clear captain choice for this week, as he sits 8 points clear of any player in the league. Julian Alvarez is the man next closest to Haaland on 37 points to Haaland's 45. He now has 2 goals and 5 assists in 5 games, after assisting twice against the Hammers. Odds makers favour Man City to score the most goals of any club this week, with just under 3 goals expected at home against Forest. Visser is currently the 4th most sold forward ahead of this week, after going scoreless for the past 3 games. If you have him, he's worth holding, as he could easily haul against an Everton side who've conceded 6 goals in their last 2 away league matches. Callum Wilson is left out of the projections because of the uncertainty surrounding his playing time, which is always taken into account by the projections. If we hear any updates about his minutes from how later this week, then he'll be on the list without a doubt. He's actually had found the back of the net in 3 consecutive matches, and Newcastle fixtures take turn for the better. As for the other forwards worth considering, Carlton Morris is on the list this week, as he's at home against Wolves and is expected to rack up just under 4 points. Luton Town have an announced double next week, so bringing him in a week early might not be a bad idea if you have no other moves to make this week. Even more so, with Lyle Faster's 1-game ban in the double made him the top forward target for the teams that double. That does it for this week's video on players to buy. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode this season. We'll see you at the team selection video.